Okay, so we're back. And let's get into it. So we're gonna talk about just hilarious schooling this Decepticon on Talk Radio, live in 4K. Fair use. First, we're gonna go what Decepticon got to say. All right. Okay. Minute. Okay, we got it.
When the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that
They kind of do, pretty much.
own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you don't own periods. You don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it.
Okay.
Somebody put 10 men and 10 trans men on an island for 100 years, and you come back to 20 dead bodies. Now you put 10 biological women and 10 biological men on an island, and you come back with a community. We didn't ask for periods. We didn't ask to be the gatekeepers, but we are. We didn't ask to have to be protected or defend ourselves as women.
But that's just the God natural order of things. And even some women don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. And feminism is what led to this Trojan horse in your communities. The Transformers are now having beef with the thespians. Think what rhymes with thespians. Okay. And now, you got the thespians crying now because now they're getting attacked by these Decepticons. Okay. They're getting called turfs. All right. And there's no, they really can't do anything. It's sad to say, even some are even getting assaulted because the thespians refuse to go out with the Decepticons. All right. But let's get into what comedian Just Hilarious has to say about this.
Fuck is gonna stand up for us? Who the fuck stands up for us? And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who were born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. When does the delusion stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane? What's the only difference is you don't have a straitjacket on. Stop talking out your fucking.
It's basically it. Okay. It's basically what she said is true. Okay. It is a mental illness. So it's not normal. And a lot of people don't like to hear the truth, but this is the facts. Okay. And Just Hilarious had to say the truth, just like many women had to say it when it came to the what was it? Black Girls Rock event, when the Alphabet Mafia tried to take it over. They had to say, You guys need your own event. But see, this is the women's fault because you wanted to include these people, okay? Because you feel the fact that these men aren't going to try and hit on me, and these men are, we both like the same thing, so they're going to leave me alone. Wrong. They want to compete with you. And men, straight men, have been saying this for years, that when you let these people around you, they're going to want to compete with you. They're going to want to be you. That's the whole reason why they want to be around you. They want to compete. And now you have this situation right now. But a lot of you, especially black women, don't want to hear the truth. And then when it's too late, now you want to get mad. Now you want to try and fight back. It's too late. They taken over sports. Okay. You got this agenda trying to make straight actors kiss these Decepticons. They're trying to compete with you. All right. And you even got some of you thinking that you should allow them into your ranks when it comes to, CRT. And guess what? You lost the battle with CRT. All right. So congratulations. You played yourselves. Okay. This is what happens when you be inclusionary. All right. Let's move on to Andrew Tate now. More information has come out about him. Let's get into that. More leaks. Oh, here we go. Fair use.
Evidence from the Andrew Tate trial got leaked somewhere, and essentially conversations that he had in his place called the War Room, which was like, it used to be his course that he would basically sell people on to make lots of money. And he would have private conversations with these people telling them, this is instructional on how to manipulate women into doing X work for his words. So Lasmina, who's one of the...
I cannot believe how stupid Andrew Tate is. This guy has a mental illness. All right. If you go do your own digging, you'll see that his father was classified as a narcissist. Very extreme case of it. And you could basically tell that rubbed off on Andrew Tate. All right. When you hear them talk about their father, how, their mother and father were poor, due to the father's own actions, they still look up to him. And the fact of the matter is, you have to take that into account, where a person comes from, their backstory. If it comes from abuse and stuff like that, and their success, you still have to wonder about their psychology. You still have to wonder about their mental frame. And Andrew and Tristan, they're screwed up. Okay? They're screwed up. Their sister doesn't even talk to them much. All right, let's keep going.
Trafficking victims in the case against Andrew Tate, the legal one, as well as Georgina, who's his BB, which is bottom bitch. Okay, and bottom bitch is basically the woman beneath the pimp who helps recruit the other women and keep them in line. Because women trust other women a lot more, a lot of men will use these kinds of women to manipulate women. Okay, so this is the conversation. Not my words, you're gonna read it. Update on the two girls living together. So they became good friends, everything was stable. The girl who moved lost her support network at home. Cemented her move. Talking about staying forever, can't wait for me to come back, etc. Essentially, this girl moved from somewhere else to come live with Andrew. She lost her family network back home as a result, okay? So Andrew says, so I had to tighten the screw. So I said somebody in her old town told me she worked in a sex club. I literally made this up from the sky. Started calling her a liar and threatening to kick her out, but the real goal is for her to agree to never go anywhere without me, not even her hometown. I need her working, not visiting friends back in her hometown. So putting nails in that coffin, saying, saying people are talking bad about her. So basically, what he's doing in this conversation is he's working towards isolating her from her loved ones, her family, and friends, so she can never go back, and she has to rely on him for everything.
Yep.
Also, he doesn't want her screwing anybody else because, once, according to his logic, if that woman screws somebody else, he can't control them.
Okay, so this is the conversation that he had with Jasmina privately through WhatsApp. You worked in a sex club. I did not work in a sex club. I'm not lying. Where did you get this out from? So you'd rather believe them. So she really believes other people are talking shit about her. I told you the truth. These people want me no good. I don't know who you have talked to, but I've only slept with 4 men in my life, and you were one of them. I have never lied to you. You said it yourself that people will try to destroy us, break us apart. I've heard things too, but I choose to believe you and not them. Well, probably sure to believe those things. Andrew, answer me, please, and tell me this is a joke, because I really don't want to believe that you mean what you're saying.
Silence.
I'm freaking crying alone in a room, and you think I'm not serious? I'm tired of this so-called friends acting like friends and ruining my chances to be happy, and it hurts that you believe that. Where am I now, Andrew? Here? Why? Because I'm serious. Andrew replies, serious girls don't lie. Yes, I understand, she says. You are not going back to Tismora even to visit without me. You understand? So Tismora is where she's from, her hometown. He said, basically, she told him, you're never going back. And she says, yes, I understand.
Looking to make your business.
Whoops.
They are telling me you talked to tons of men and worked in a sex club. I'm not having you go back there for them to call me and tell me more shit. She replies, that's a lie, but as I said earlier, look at me. Andrew replies, you don't need to leave the house in Bucharest without either me or Georgina. We are together always. So this is how he socially isolated her. Let's go to part 2. Update on the 2 girls living together. If anyone doesn't know the story, ask the guys here to find out for you. So I told my girl to send me a picture. She said this. All right, so he puts a screenshot of what she wrote to him. She writes, at the same time, I have a few things, very few, but rules I can't break because I'm old-fashioned and I still believe in God. 1, I never sent a picture of me in lingerie ever. I made a promise to God and myself, and I will keep it. 2, I will never do video chat or OnlyFans because my body's intimate and I only want my husband should be able to touch and see. 3, if I give you my love, I'm expecting same thing back. 4, the man I love should not hit or beat me up. This is it. If these 4 things are respected when it comes to me, then there's no way we can ever fight. I listen when I have to, I'm quiet when I'm supposed to, and I'm definitely dedicated on being a good wife, waking you up in the morning with fresh coffee and a meal, all yours and forever. This is the way I was raised. Had this on my heart the whole day, so I had to say it. You are the perfect man for me and the man I've been dreaming to meet and have a family with since I was a kid. Now it's your turn to decide if the things change the way you see me or if I'm still the woman you want to spend your life with.
She must be really young to be brainwashed this way and to say all this stuff to Andrew Tate.
I do. Do you? So basically she's saying, don't make me out to be a whore and don't beat me up. Those are her requirements, which I think most men watching think that's reasonable. Andrew's goal is he flies these women out. He makes them fall in love with him. He uses sex as a manipulation tool, per his words. Not me.
I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So yeah, on corporatate.com I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm
Clever.
And
Clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me. You're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together?
Talking, just saying anything out his just self-snitching.
What if you doing what? So I'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen, come, let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. Your bottom bitch is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear it from a girl. And this is where your bottom bitch has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl. Because that's what I did. That was my MO was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me.
And then these were women who've never done adult work. They've never been interested in doing adult work, but he would find ways to isolate them from their friends and family, make them go broke, and then try to get them into the cam business so he can make a profit off them. So regardless of either whether you think that's legal or not, it's got to be some evil shit. To isolate somebody from their friends and family just so you can make financial gain?
This video is brought to you by Sir.
All right. It's I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, this guy is really diabolical, and he just makes life
But I would
hard for
try
these
to be
women.
good cop, bad cop. This is from Mac J, one of the people who are part of the war room. Act deeply hurt by her refusal. Flip it on her and get her to start feeling guilty or cry.
They're trying to teach men to be sex traffickers. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to teach men. Oh, this is crazy. And it's wow. I mean, basically, all those other men, who knows what charges could be brought up on them? Commenting and trying to learn how to be a sex trafficker from Andrew Tate. He is dangerous. He is a creep. And he's a danger to young men because he's trying to turn them into sex traffickers. This isn't good. You cannot defend Andrew Tate. You cannot. I don't care. If you do, you are okay with sleeping with underage girls and being a sex trafficker.
Then have my BB, bottom bitch, ask why she's upset, tell her how religious she used to be and how easy fun camming is. Again, never had to do anything like this, but maybe it works. And then Tate replies, close. I'm actually going to add a layer of separation. I will use Georgina as the bottom bitch and pretend I don't care. Either way, she can't attack me for tricking her. She looks super adamant about not doing this. She even made bullet points. I still bet yes because you're a top G, but it would be super impressive to see it in action. So basically, these guys are just discussing how they're going to traffic these women and get them to do the cam work.
Well, as a course, right?
There's a course to it, but this group chat's just private. For the select few who want to be human traffickers, I guess.
Yo, but he was teaching us in the videos too how to be a trafficker. Now anybody who says they, I want to be an Andrew Tate, you risking being canceled because Andrew Tate is officially a human sex trafficker. That's what he's about. Let me get into this article now. All right, here we are. Okay. Leaked texts appear to show Andrew Tate's alleged trafficking tactics. Screen grabs of texts sent to war room chats seem to show how Tate used lies and manipulation to exploit one of his alleged victims. Man, I sound almost evil, he wrote. You are evil. When far right-wing influencer Andrew Tate was arrested by Romanian authorities on suspicion of sex trafficking last December, the Romanian agency DICOT argued that Tate and his brother Tristan used the lover boy method to lure women to their compound in Bucharest under the guise of having a relationship with them before forcing them to do sex work. Tate has maintained his innocence, arguing that he never at any point had to coerce any of his partners to doing sex work for him, and recently telling Tucker Carlson that he had no financial motivation to force women to make online content for him. Yeah. Right. Yet you were talking about how you owed money from the mafia, and that's the reason why you had to make that money. The also thing that strikes me is the fact that when he's bragging about how men spent their life savings on these cam girls and stuff, what if these men are actually connected to the mob? Interesting things are going to happen to Tate if he, when he gets sentenced. He's not getting away from this. Okay? If he was smart, he'd be trying to find a way to get out the country. I'm just saying. I mean, it doesn't make any sense for somebody to just keep doing interviews, and you're not thinking about, you're going away for a long time. You angered a lot of people. You're losing connections. Your light is soon to fade away. People are not going to remember you in 20 to 30 years. Okay? I don't even know what's going through Tristan's mind. All right? Who knows? Self-deletion may happen. Who knows? But I know one thing. I won't be sitting here making interviews. I'd be trying to find a way to. I'm not on his side at all, but I would be trying to find a way to get the hell out the country. All right. Whether I have a tunnel, whether I'm digging a tunnel, whatever. I'm trying to find a way to get out of Romania. If I have to go on foot or I have to get on a barge and be a stowaway, whatever I have to do to get out of Romania. That should be his main focus, not doing stupid interviews. Newly leaked screen grabs of 2021 messages from the War Room, Tate's all-male network of associates, however, are complicating Tate's narrative. In the messages, which sources close to the War Room verified to Rolling Stone, Tate appears to be boasting about manipulating one of his girlfriends into doing sex work. The woman whose name in Rolling Stone is withholding is listed by Romanian prosecutors as an alleged victim of Tate's sex trafficking. Operating though she has repeatedly denied this, she did not immediately reply to a request for comment. In a statement, a spokesperson for Tate told Rolling Stone that the woman referring to in the purported screenshots has publicly and categorically refuted any mistreatment from the brothers, and that the release of the screenshots is part of a smear campaign against the Tates. While all statements from the alleged victims incriminating the brothers have been unquestionably accepted by the public, the evidence supporting the brothers' innocence has not been given the same air treatment, the spokesperson said. The messages paint a lurid and often disturbing image of the process by which the Tate allegedly recruited young women to do his bidding using a combination of lies, manipulation, and coercive tactics, all the while using examples of his conversations as teaching methods for his acolytes and inviting feedback from them. Tate and his brother Tristan also show up in the leaked War Room chats, were arrested in Bucharest in December of 2022 and detained on suspicious sex trafficking, rape, and organized crime, and are currently on house arrest. The Tate brothers' Bucharest compound was initially raided after an American woman and a Moldovan woman placed a call to the U.S. Embassy saying that they had been lured under false pretenses and forced to create sexually explicit content online for the Tates' financial benefit. The Tates have strongly denied these allegations. As Rolling Stones previously reported, the Tate brothers are the head of a War Room exclusive social network and Telegram channel, providing members with access to their teachings on sex and masculinity. Though Tate associates have classified it as a little more than an innocuous self-help brotherhood, sources familiar with the War Room have claimed that it served as a forum for coercing women to do online sex work for members. Wow. Prostitution. The screen grabs obtained by Rolling Stone appear to be from a channel titled War Room PhD, a reference to Tate's now defunct Pimp and Hose degree program. My job was to meet a girl, get her to fall in love with me, to where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could be rich together. Read a now deleted description of the website for the PhD program. In the messages, which are dated from June 2021, a user identified as Tate, Andrew's handle on the Telegram chats with his War Room members, according to previously verified messages from the group, starts by expounding generally on the virtues he looks for in a female partner. Give an average moron with no skills who's blind, loyal. He writes, I judge basically all females by loyalty. They're loyal, and they won't leave. In the end, they'll do everything you want. Yep. He's going down. He's going down. I don't know what people are trying to think and say that he's going to get out. You're a simp. You know, whatever, man. He's not leaving. He is not getting out of this unless he wants to book it to another country. All right. That's what he's going to have to do. All right. So let's check out this situation in Walgreens. All right. Times getting rough, people.
It didn't take long. Within the first hour of being at Walgreens on Geary Boulevard and 17th Avenue in San Francisco, we witnessed multiple shoplifters. One of them even took the time to explain why he simply didn't pay. Off camera, a Walgreens employee told me they're hit anywhere.
Now, if an armed guard was there and put 2 bullets in him, it'd be a crime. Because that's what's going to have to happen to keep them from stealing, because they're going to get violent. They're going to come in mobs. They're going to end up shutting down that Walgreens, and people are going to be out of jobs.
Between 15 to 20 times a day. Out of frustration, a week and a half ago, they decided to chain up their freezer section. This is one of the hardest hit areas in their store. Now, when you want something, you have to press this button. A message goes off on the overhead speaker, and an employee comes to unlock the freezer. According to the employee we spoke to, company policy says they can't challenge shoplifters, but this customer has.
Sometimes I've stopped people myself, and it just frustrates me so much to see the neighborhood fall apart and to have to ask somebody to, unlock things.
Almost every aisle has products locked behind plastic cases. We asked what the brown marks were. Turns out shoplifters have tried to burn the cases. This vendor saw 4 shoplifters in the couple of hours he was working at the store today.
They just help themselves. It's a common thing. The problem is they're not punished.
SFPD's Sergeant Omar was on foot patrol outside the store.
It's getting worse, because more and more people are coming into the west side of the city on the 38 bus line. They're getting off, and they're basically stealing out of this store.
He did not want his face on camera, but said he detained 8 people shoplifting yesterday.
People were entering the store and taking products, so outside, if they cross the threshold, they can be put under arrest. The 8 people that I took on yesterday, 7 of them returned the items. Well, basically all 8 returned the items. With one, there was a problem with one of them.
So, did you arrest anybody?
No, because the store didn't wish to put citizens to arrest on. All they wanted to do was get their product back.
But Walgreens is not the only store that's been victimized by crime here. Across from it is this cigarette shop. They were burglarized a month ago. The owner said he lost over $100,000 in merchandise.
They're running businesses into the ground, and the laws, especially in San Francisco, is lax. I hope people are stocking up on food, water, and weapons, because it's going to get ugly here. It's going to get extremely ugly. All right. Let's get into a story about LeBron James. LeBron James' son, Bronny, suffered cardiac arrest at 18. What young athletes should know about heart health. Although cardiac arrests are rare in young athletes, experts say preventive screening can save lives, along with immediate CPR and fast intervention. Yeah, Bronny James, the eldest son of the NBA star LeBron James, suffered from cardiac arrest on Monday during a basketball workout at the University of Southern California. The 18-year-old is now in stable condition and no longer in the ICU. A representative for the James family confirmed to People. That's a good thing. As a teenager and seemingly healthy athlete, Bronny health scares sparked conversations surrounding the exercise-related cardiac events among the youth. Here's what to know about the cardiac arrest and its prevalence in the young athletes following intense exercise. Cardiac arrest, also known as sudden cardiac, is an abrupt loss of heart function resulting from a problem with the heart's electrical system. According to the Mayo Clinic, this disrupts the heart's pumping action and stops blood flow through the body. It can be fatal if proper steps aren't taken immediately. CPR can improve the chances of survival until emergency medical assistance arrives. More than 356,000 cardiac arrests occur inside a hospital in the United States each year, according to the American Heart Association. Person suffering cardiac arrest can experience immediate and drastic symptoms like sudden collapse, no pulse, no breathing, and a loss of consciousness. Warning signs can include chest discomfort, shortness of breath, weakness, and heart palpitations. Sudden cardiac arrest is the leading cause of death in young athletes. According to the Sports Institute, about 1 in 2 in every 100,000 young athletes experience a sudden cardiac arrest each year, with males being at the greater risk than females, and African American athletes being at greater risk than their white counterparts. About 6 in every 100,000 college African American male athletes have a sudden cardiac arrest each year, experts say. The rate is highest among the NCAA Division I male basketball players whose risk is 20 per 100,000 per year. Experts say that the cardiac arrest among young athletes is rare, but can occur when underlying heart conditions present, such as cardiomyopathy or arrhythmia. Cardiomyopathy is a form of heart disease that affects the heart muscle and makes it difficult to pump blood to the rest of the body, according to the American Heart Association. Heart arrhythmia is an irregular heartbeat. In addition to the genetic heart abnormalities, one condition that can also lead to sudden cardiac arrest or death in young athletes is comatose cordis, which is a fatal disruption of the heart rhythm after a blow to the chest wall. Comatose cordis is rare but common among male athletes participating in sports with projectiles. I just hope he is doing well. And yeah, that's all I could say, with the situation that's going on. That's all I could say. But how many of you heard about, Obama's chef passing away? There seems to be a very interesting story about that. Big surprise. Let's get into that, shall we? Let's get into that. All right. Okay. Obama's White House chef drowns near former President Martha's Vineyard's home. Okay. The body found in a pond at the Obama's Martha's Vineyard estate on Sunday night has been identified as Tafari Campbell, a former White House South chef who worked under the Obama administration. He is the second White House chef to die by drowning in less than a decade. Really now? 2015, former White House chef for Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, Walter Sheeb, went missing while hiking outside the city of Taos, New Mexico. Really now? Tafari Campbell somehow isn't the first White House chef to drown. All right, let's get into this right here. Let's get into it. Very interesting.
Now know how Walter Sheeb died. His body was found Sunday night just off the Yerba Canyon trailhead in very rugged terrain. New Mexico State Police say after an autopsy, the medical investigator reports Sheeb drowned, and his death is officially an accident. Sheeb moved to Taos in March. A friend told our partners at the Journal he may have been trying to be closer to his girlfriend. He previously worked as a chef in the White House, first under Bill Clinton, and stayed on when George W. Bush took over. Last night, President Clinton released a statement reading in part, "Hillary and I are saddened by the tragic passing of former White House executive chef Walter Sheeb. Our family was grateful to have Walter with us in the White House for 6 years, where we and visitors from around the world loved his delicious and creative meals." And former First Lady Laura Bush added, "President Bush and I are saddened by the tragic death of former White House executive chef Walter Sheeb. Walter was an outstanding talent. He prepared magnificent dinners for world leaders and delicious fare for our family and friends. George and I send our heartfelt sympathy to Walter's loved ones. He was also involved in multiple charities, appeared on Iron Chef, started his own corporation, and wrote a book."
Yeah, nothing foul play. No foul play here. 45-year-old Campbell was one of the top chefs at the Obama White House and reportedly brewed the White House honey ale beer called Ale to the Chef, using ingredients from Michelle Obama's South Lawn Garden. Chicago Sun-Times reports in a statement that the Obama said one of the top chefs in the White House kitchen, Tafari, was a beloved part of the family. When we first met him, he was also talented South chef at the White House, creative and passionate about food and its ability to bring people together. In the years that followed, we got to know him as a warm, fun, extraordinary, kind person who made all our lives brighter. That's why when we were getting ready to leave the White House, we asked Tafari to stay with us, and he generously agreed. He's been part of our lives since, and our hearts are broken that he's gone. This marks the second White House chef to die by drowning. Today, we join everyone who knew and loved Tafari, especially his wife, Charisse, and their twin boys, Xavier and Savin, in grieving the loss of a truly wonderful man. Obama has been spending part of the summer in Martha's Vineyard for years. According to InfoWars, Campbell's body was recovered 100 feet from shore on Monday morning by Massachusetts State Police diver after receiving a 911 call from the 30-acre waterfront Obama mansion. Police said witnesses on Sunday observed a male paddleboarder who had gone into the water appeared to briefly struggle to stay on the surface and then submerged and did not resurface. Another paddleboarder was on the pond with him at the time and observed him go under the water. Wow. MSP claimed that Campbell was visiting Martha's Vineyard at the time of his passing. President and Miss Obama were not present at the residence at the home of the accident. Circumstances of Campbell's death are still under investigation. Early reports suggested that Campbell had never learned to swim, but according to TGP, internet sleuths have uncovered a 2019 video revealing that Campbell had undertaken swimming lessons. I seen him swimming, so that's not true. What's going on? And how do you can't drown in a shallow pond? All right. That's a lot, man. That is a lot to unpack. The second chef to die by drowning. How many of y'all think that these two chefs saw something they weren't supposed to see? That's what I think. Right? That's what I definitely think about that. I really do. Some wild stuff, man. Wild. All right. So let's get into the story here of China being the target of the U.S. and trying to build a CIA network. Let's get into that real quick.
After Beijing caught and killed many of its agents a decade ago. As China vows countermeasures, will the agency
fair use
pull it off this time? Vacant streets and sounding sirens across northern Taiwan. A half-hour evacuation drill aiming to prepare residents for natural disasters or a possible Chinese attack. A show of force and unity aimed at China. Largest ever joint military training between Washington and Canberra underway in Australia. And does America's Indo-Pacific strategy impact world dynamics? What role does Beijing play? We hear from two Washington officials. What do you think about the developments? Let us know below and subscribe if you haven't already.
And we're working very hard over recent years to ensure that we have a strong human intelligence capability to complement what we can acquire through other methods.
Burns was referring to a major breach over a decade ago when China broke up the CIA's spy network in the country. The consequences of that incident were huge. The New York Times reported at the time that China killed or detained over a dozen CIA sources. One was shot in front of his coworkers in the courtyard of a Chinese government building. The report cited unnamed U.S. officials. NTD reached out to the CIA for comment, but did not hear back before airtime. How did Beijing find out about America's spy network? Officials believe multiple issues led to it. One is that the Chinese breached the CIA sources' communication systems. The other is that there was a mole inside the CIA. Later, the agency identified a former officer in Hong Kong, Jerry Chunxing Li. Li had access to information on a lot of CIA officers and their sources. He also knew sensitive details about how the CIA collects intelligence. Li is a naturalized U.S. citizen. He was recruited by China's national security officers. Li pleaded guilty to espionage in 2019. He was sentenced to 19 years in prison. Beijing said it took note of Burns' comment about rebuilding. Sirens sounding on the streets of Taiwan Monday as troops kicked off the week with an annual air raid exercise. In cities across northern Taiwan, citizens were asked to stay indoors for 30 minutes from 1:30 to 2 p.m. local time. A street evacuation alert was sent out to locals via text message ahead of time. Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen also shared a reminder on Facebook, directing people to be aware of words like test and drill in the text message and to stay calm. The drill is called Wang'an, translated as everlasting peace. It simulates an enemy airstrike on a train station, with the city's fire department leaping into action to evacuate wounded civilians and put out fires. The drill aims to prepare civilians for natural disasters.
My thing is this, like, why would you want everybody to know that you're building a network within an enemy country? Why would you do that? Okay? Why would you want that done? That makes no sense. Are you trying to get more agents killed? I'm just saying, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you do something so stupid? You're risking lives here. You're playing with people's lives. You don't care about if they, if they fulfill their mission or not, just the fact that you're just building something and you got to let everybody know. It's kind of the reason why you start to see that the U.S. government is really just a clown show. That's it. It's a real big, sad clown show. Just like this right here. This right here. Pentagon watchdog, U.S. struggled to track military aid to Ukraine. You gave these people weapons and you can't track it? Dozens of rifles, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and other military equipment donated to Ukraine in the early months of Russia's invasion were stolen last year, according to a Pentagon report. Why it matters? The theft by crime groups and volunteer fighters were ultimately disrupted by Ukraine's security service, and the military hardware was recovered. The Defense Department initially struggled to track and monitor all the equipment it donated to Ukraine as required by law. The Inspector General's report does not specify whether the stolen weapons were donated to Ukraine by the U.S. However, it did find that the U.S. ability to ensure that its donated weapons and equipment were ultimately being used for Ukraine's self-defense was hamstrung by a lack of personnel in the country from start of the invasion to September 2022. Tracking that information is required by the Arms Export Control Act. The inability of Defense Department personnel to visit areas where equipment provided to the Ukraine was being used or stored significantly hampered Kyiv's offense of Office of Defense cooperation, ability to execute and use monitoring, the report reads. By October, the U.S. military personnel had entered Ukraine to begin inspecting and tracking the donated weaponry. By the numbers, the report said criminal organization led by an unspecified Russian official intent on destabilizing Ukraine was able to obtain weapons, including at least one grenade launcher, a machine gun, and over 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Yep. Yeah, In another instance, members of a volunteer Ukrainian battalion stole over 60 rifles and nearly 1,000 rounds of ammunition and likely intended to sell them on the black market, the report said. Ukrainian criminals were able to steal $17,000 worth of bulletproof vests by posing a humanitarian organization, according to the CNN, which also obtained the watchdog report. A Defense Department spokesperson told CNN on Friday that the U.S. remains keenly aware of the risk of complicit illicit diversion and is proactively taking steps to mitigate the risk in close cooperation with the government of Ukraine. We are realistic that we are sending weapons to help Ukraine defend itself in an active conflict, and there's a risk that these weapons could be captured if territory changes hands, which happens in any war, the spokesperson added. The report will likely lead to a renewed criticism from members of Congress who have previously backed plans to oppose future military aid to Ukraine. The Pentagon said last month that an accounting error had overestimated U.S. aid to Ukraine by $6.2 billion, allowing it to send additional equipment. On Wednesday, the Biden administration announced a military aid package to Ukraine worth $1.3 billion that included 4 surface-to-air missile systems, mine-clearing equipment, artillery rounds, tactical vehicles, and trucks. The U.S. has sent $42.6 billion in security assistance to Ukraine since the start of the invasion. Yeah, man, this is just a clown show. Comedy at its finest. Would be comedy if it wasn't so tragic. Okay, because we already have U.S. weapons that was meant to go to Ukraine end up in Mexico and in the hands of a Mexican cartel. All right. So it's really a humiliating, situation that is on the government hands. But is it really a humiliating situation, or it's just the fact that, possibly this could be the whole agenda all along, to just empty the stockpiles and let America be a target for invasion? Who's going to be invading? Who knows? That's all I got for now. I hope you liked the commentary. All right. Gave you some social and political commentary at the same time. We know about this culture war, and we know about our corrupt U.S. government. Hit the like button, like the commentary, push the content through the algorithm. Anything you want to know about this channel is in the description box. You know what to do. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.